Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Anthony Eremitaggio. I just want to make sure everyone hears me. If you can just click on your WebEx, you could click on the check mark. I can see some yes responses that you hear me loud and clear. That would be appreciated. All right, awesome. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so again, my name is Anthony Eremitaggio, and thanks for joining today's webinar on an overview of income and poverty-related statistics. I am a data dissemination specialist with the United States Census Bureau. I'm one of the data dissemination specialists across the country available to conduct trainings, presentations, and respond to data inquiries. So at the end of the presentation, I'm going to have some contact information where you can contact me or my coworkers. We do webinars, workshops, train people on how to use the data tools so you can get the data yourself. So all that contact information will be available at the end. I will share an email address in chat in case you cannot stay to the end. You can email us if you have any questions or you want to request your own data workshop. So I'm going to be utilizing chat quite often. That's where I'll be taking questions throughout. So towards the end, if you have any questions, you can post them in chat and I'll try to answer as many as I can during the live session. Those that I cannot get back to, I have the information you used to register and I can get back to you via email. Just some reminders, all lines are in silent mode. That's to prevent any feedback and noises because we do have quite a few participants on the line this morning. So at the end, we're going to be, one of the things I'm going to ask for is an evaluation of this presentation and workshop. Also, after you're able to do the feedback evaluation form, I'm going to be sharing this PDF file of the PowerPoint slides directly with you through WebEx. Those that do not get it, I can also follow up with an email and send it to you the old-fashioned way. So we're going to begin now. So the first slide that you saw here is just an infographic. We're going to learn more about this from the American Community Survey. It's the median household income, and you can see for the most populous metropolitan areas, you can see the difference between 2016 and 17. You can see all of them have seen an increase in median household income. So here's an outline of what I'm going to be going through this morning. We're going to do some highlights and define what income and poverty is, a little bit about search and navigation. Where do you find income and poverty-related data on our website? Because we do have a very comprehensive website with many different subjects where that data and information is available for. Then we're going to do some data visuals. I'll share some infographics to give you a picture of income and poverty status in the country. Resources, where does all this data come from? Then I will have time to do a live demo. I'm going to demonstrate some of the most popular data tools. I'm going to go over 3 of them. And then finally, how do people use this data in everyday circumstances? Not only people, but organizations, businesses, nonprofits, community planners. Then at the end, we're going to have some time to do some questions and evaluation. I'll share contact information with everyone. So one of the first slides I have in all my presentation, even though this is an income and poverty, I'd like to give a brief overview on the Census Bureau. The Census Bureau's mission is to serve as the leading source of quality data about our nation's people and economy. You can see, we're all known to do the 10-year census, decennial. So we have upcoming the 2020 census, which we're in the full process, operations, hiring folks throughout the country. So we do have a website. I'll share that at the end also with information about the 2020 census. But there's things that we do the other 9 years, right? So one of the biggest surveys that we do is the American Community Survey. So a lot of the local data comes from that survey, and we're going to be speaking a little bit about that. Other surveys and censuses we do, we have dozens of different programs, census surveys that we do. Another big one is the current population survey, right? So that's sponsored by actually the Department of Labor. When you hear about the unemployment number each month, comes from data that we collect in the field from this household survey. A couple of other notable ones that we do is the economic census, which is done in years ending 2 and 7. So it's done every 5 years, and you're able to get a wealth of economic, business, industry data down to a local level. Now you'll see some of my slides have links on the bottom, so that when I share this presentation with you, you're able to perhaps go back and refresh yourself with this information. So let's start off with income. So what is income? Money income is income received on a regular basis, excludes certain money such as capital gains and lump sum payments, before payments for personal income taxes, Social Security, union dues, Medicare deductions, etc. So if you're talking about wages from a check, right, it's the gross amount basically. So here's to make it clearer what is considered income. These are examples: wages, commissions, dividends, Social Security, benefits, disability benefits, workers' compensation, unemployment benefits, cash public assistance, VA payments is all considered income. Certain things that's excluded from income, that's a common misconception, is capital gains or losses, non-cash benefits like food stamps, housing subsidies, and tax credits is excluded from what we consider money income. Now here's some highlights on the United States national level. The real median income, now this is the latest data here that I'm sharing with you. This was released a few months ago. Real median household income for the nation for 2017 was $61,372. It was $60,309 in 2016, so we saw a real increase of 1.8%, which is the third consecutive increase in median household income. And you can see the difference between median earnings of men and women, $52,146, and women $41,977 for those that worked full-time year-round. Also, another highlight, the number of men and women working full-time year-round increased by 1.4 million and 1 million respectively between 2016 and 17. Also, another notable highlight, the real median income of households maintained by non-Hispanic whites was $68,145, and Hispanics was $50,486, which was an increase of 2.6% and 3.7% respectively between 2016 and 17. So we just went over income, brief overview, what we consider income and some highlights. We're going to do the same thing for poverty. So poverty is defined by the Office of Management and Budgets, or the OMB office. We use a set of money income thresholds that vary by family size and composition to determine who is in poverty. So in other words, if the total income for a family or unrelated individual falls below the poverty threshold, then you're considered to be in poverty. And that's everyone in the family and every individual in it. So this is what we update every year. So this is the 2017 poverty threshold table. So just for example, looking at this chart, if you have a family of 3, right, with 1 child, you can see that let me see if I could change my pointer. You can see the family income limit is $19,730. So if that family of 3 total household income is below $19,730, you're considered to be in poverty. And you can see, again, here's a link that I share, and you can look at historical poverty thresholds that we have. So here's some poverty highlights. The official poverty rate for the United States was 12.3%, or 39.7 million people in poverty. The rate is 2.5 percentage points lower than it was in 2014. This is the third consecutive annual decline in the poverty rate, which is the same statement that was made for the income, which went up for 3 consecutive years. Between 2016 and 17, people with at least a bachelor's degree were the only group to have an increase in the poverty rate or the number of people in poverty. Just a notable highlight. Even with this increase among educational attainment groups, people with at least a bachelor's degree had the lowest poverty rates in 2017. Poverty rate for children under 18 was 17.5%, so that's down from 18% in 2016. Also, the poverty rate for age 65 and up was 9.2%. Again, it's a slight decline from 2016 when it was 9.3%. So now we're going on to search and navigation. I'm going to show you where on the website. When I do the live demo, you'll also see me do it there as well. So this is our census.gov is where all our data is, all our data tools are, all information on the topics. So easily we have a breakout for the topic of income and poverty. Right? So you just click on the banner here. We have a few things on the banner, and you'll see a topic for income and poverty. From that, you get the income and poverty page. So from here, you can see some other subjects, sub-subjects that we have: income, income inequality, poverty, public assistance, SAPI, Small Area Income and Poverty Estimate Program. I'm actually going to demo that tool so you can get income and poverty data for a local area, mostly down to a county level, but there's also school districts in that data tool. So I'm going to show you folks that are on the call today. Also, information about a supplemental poverty measure, wealth and asset ownership, well-being. Again, there's a lot of information on there. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to go on all of these in detail, but one of my goals today is to show you where these resources are and how you can get to it and data basically for free. So from here, so you can see income and poverty. So from here, we're going to go to the landing page for income and poverty. So here's the income page. So again, you can get all the information on income right here. I'll tell you more about the topic. If you're interested in data on income, guidance for data users, library has infographics on it, publications, and news and updates. Now, one of the things that we have to realize is that we have more than one way to get to the data, right? So this would be one way, right? You can see there's a data tables link here. But I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to get to the data, the most user-friendly ways. This is good if you want to download all the summary tables that we have, and you upload it into an Excel spreadsheet, and you can look at the data that way. But we have, like I said, other ways, and I'm going to try to show you some different options. Here's the poverty page from that income and poverty landing page. So you can see where we started here. So again, you can learn more about the topic. You can learn about those poverty thresholds, right, where I had that Excel spreadsheet that shows you family size, some poverty data tools, and here it gives you a quick fact on the poverty rate in the United States was 12.3%. And it's good if this is a topic that you work on for your job, or you have to be aware of this. This is something you can bookmark, because you can see here we have news and press releases of different types of topics within poverty. So now we're going to get to some fun stuff. Right, so we went through the definitions, where to go on our website to get this information. So I'm going to share with you some infographics, some mappings that show you the data. You can visualize the data. So the first one here is the median household income in the United States by state. So you can see the darker areas, the darker purple, have the highest median household income of over $60,000, followed by the lighter areas. So while you're looking at this map, I'll share with you like the top 5 with the most income is the District of Columbia, D.C. is 82,372, and then Maryland has 80,776. You have New Jersey, 80,088, followed by Hawaii, which is number 4 at 77,765, and Massachusetts at 77,385. So you can see those are the top 5 that have the highest income in the country. So you can see the U.S. median is about 60,336. We have in the 70s range, we have Connecticut, New Hampshire, Alaska, California, Virginia, Washington. They're all over 70,000. If you're interested in the lowest, might as well. The bottom 2 is Mississippi at 43,529, and West Virginia is at 43,469. In case we have any, things interested in Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico's median household income was 19,343. So this next infographic is real median household income. Now, just one note, when you see real, like what does this real mean? Well, when we say real, that refers to income after adjusting for inflation. So that's what that means. So this real median household income, actually I saw something on the news yesterday about this. They're always citing these stats. So you can see the Asian race has the highest median household income at 81,331, followed by the white non-Hispanics at 68,145. You can see these all showed an increase. So this last here from about 2014 to 17, you can see the upswing here. Hispanic, any race, you can see 50,486. And the black population, 40,258,000. Now, someone asked in chat about finding for the American Indian numbers. We can get that information using one of our data tools. I'll see if I can do that for you when I do the demo. Here is an infographic on total and full-time year-round workers with earnings by sex between 1967 and 2017. So you can see trends here. So you can see male workers, 88.1 million, total full-time year-round workers. Female full-time workers, year-round workers, about 49.3 million. So this is all male workers, all female workers, and then the other 2 lines are only the full-time year-round workers. You have 88.1 male workers in total, but out of those, 66.4 million are less full-time. So here's also a map for, we did the one for income. This is the one for poverty. So this map here, again, the darker area shows you the highest poverty rate. So the darkest one is 18% or higher. So I'll just give you the top 5. So we have Mississippi here with the highest poverty rate at 19.8%. Louisiana at 19.7, New Mexico 19.7, West Virginia 19.1, Kentucky 17.2. And the ones with the lowest are New Hampshire is at 7.7%. I gave you the income for Puerto Rico. The poverty rate for Puerto Rico we have is 44.4%. But that's not included in the U.S. Average here, U.S. percentage. It states it right here, U.S. percent does not include data for Puerto Rico. So here's poverty in the United States. We saw the front slide that I had while you were waiting for me to start showed you the income in the top, the 25 most populous metro areas. This is the poverty in the 25 most populous areas. So you can see the difference between 017 and 16. So you can see a lot of them have a decline in poverty rate. One of the biggest one looks like is just by going by the size of the line is in Riverside. And it looks like they saw good, even Miami, Phoenix, Dallas saw a decline in poverty rate. Again, just to point out, you can see here the source of this data is from the American Community Survey. So here's another infographic, poverty rate and number in poverty. You can see the poverty rate here on the bottom, 12.3% equates to about 39.7 million people in poverty. So you can see the recent decline, but you can see it back in history. So those bars here are periods of recession. Right? So this last recession here was, I guess it's around 2007, 8, 9. That's where that would be here. Here's one on poverty rates by age and gender, 2017. So you can see those age 65 and over. Poverty rate for females is 10.5%, for males it's 7.5%. Those age 18 to 64 also have a pretty big difference there. Males at 13% poverty rate and females at females at 13%, males at 9.4%. Those under age 18, very similar, 17.7 for females, 17.3 for males. Now you can see here, just to point out, I'm going to talk about this a little later from the source of the data, but this came from the Current Population Survey, and that's the annual social and economic supplement. That's that survey that I spoke about where we get the unemployment information from. We also, once a year, we do a supplement to it, and that's how we gather the other statistics on poverty and income. So let me just look at chat real quick here. Would it be able to show statistics tied into income and disability? Yes, we have American Community Survey tables where you can see income status by certain characteristics, and I think disability is one of them. So when I go show the American Fact Finder data tool, I will give you a brief overview, and hopefully you're able to go into it and look into it. We have tens of thousands of tables. Any specifically ratios of those with disability who poverty set. So again, we would have to look at some of those tables. So here's some resources. So here, where do we get the resources, right? Sources for reporting income and poverty. So I mentioned the Current Population Survey. That serves as the nation's primary source of statistics on labor force characteristics. So again, once a year, we do the annual social and economic supplement that provides the official annual statistics on the nation's poverty levels, as well as statistics on income, health insurance coverage, marital status, educational attainment, employee benefits, work schedule, school enrollment, non-cash benefits, and migration. Here's other sources. So the American Community Survey, you saw a bunch of infographics that come from that. So these are great for smaller areas, right? You want to go down. American Community Survey, I have a whole webinar that I do on ACS, right? We got a wealth of information. It covers over 40 topics that no other survey covers for smaller areas. When I say smaller areas, I'm talking about below zip code level. You could go down to block group levels which is population ranges from 600 to 3,000 in each cluster. So that's the beauty of the ACS. We get local data. The CPS, well, my next slide is going to cover that. So let me wait on that comment. So another source is Survey of Income and Program Participation. That's good for longitudinal estimates. And we have the SAPI, or the Small Area Income and Poverty Estimate Program. And again, a quick definition of what that program is. It's based on model-based poverty estimates for counties and school districts. So it's not an actual survey in itself. So here's the difference between the sources of information. What are you going to be looking at? Just to get an understanding where the data comes from. But when you use a data tool, it automatically pulls depending on the geography that you want. If you want it on the national level, where we get the national poverty rate and the official national median household income, that comes from the CPS. That's here, right? But with the CPS, you can't get local data. You might be able to get some state data, but when you go down to state and below levels, you're going to be using, you see ACS, American Community Survey, right? And you can see SAPI, you can get that for counties and school districts. So yeah, someone said the ACS webinar. So I'm going to share with you the website we have. It's census.gov/academy, but we're going to confirm that link at the end. And you can sign up. You can see all the webinars we have coming up that are hosted by me and a few of my colleagues. So here, so we did pretty good here today. So I think we have, what is it, 11 o'clock now? We started at 10:30. Probably another 15, 20 minutes. We can get through this. So I'm going to do a demo on these three data tools: QuickFacts, SAPI, which I spoke a lot about, and American Fact Finder. But American Fact Finder is a data tool. You have access to data from a lot of our surveys, economic census, some of the business surveys that we do, the ACS, the American Community Survey, the decennial census. There's a lot of data in there. So there's different ways to search data in there. I'm going to stick with basic because this is not a webinar about American Fact Finder, but I must show it to you because it's a way to get a lot of the data tables and the cross variables you're going to get from AFF. So before I go live on census.gov, here is a geography slide that I have. It's good to know geography. We have data. If you don't have the geography, right, you have to tie it in to tell the story. So if you go down the center here, right, we got states. States are nicely divided into counties, right, no overlapping boundaries. Counties are divided into census tracts, right? So you can see on the right, I put down population between 1,200 and 8,000. We try to keep the population, the census tract at 4,000. So if you're looking at a county, right, you may have a county where the median household income is 57,000, right? But then when you go up and split up the county, hey, you may have an area of the county that is 25,000 median household income. So using the census tract geography is a great way, and they're consistent over time. They rarely change, and if they do change, they only change every 10 years or so. Block groups, so census tract are further divided into block groups, right, which is the lowest level of geography available for the American Community Survey, right? So as you go down into this, right, so the margin of error, the ACS is not an ACS webinar, but the ACS is a household survey. It's based on a sample, so you do have a margin of error. So if you go smaller in geography, hence your margin of error is probably going to increase, just to note that. Census blocks is only used by the decennial census. But with the ACS, you can also get zip codes, congressional districts, school districts. You know, if there's a towns, depending on if we recognize it as a place, there's different other levels of geography that you can see on this chart. So to learn more about our geography, if that's something of interest and you really want to see how your state's divided up, because people call things places, villages, incorporated cities. It could get a little messy if you don't live there basically and are not familiar with it. So if you go to education here, you can get a guide to your state and you can see more information about that. So let me go into it. So you're going to have screenshots here, so when you have a copy of this, you can see what I went to. But let me share my web browser. So everyone should be able to see my web browser. So I'm going to go, as you would, to census.gov. Now, there's in WebEx, I'm full screen on my end. There's things you can do on your end. You could zoom in, go full screen to, see if you can fix your screen so that you can see the entire screen. So this is our homepage, census.gov. You can see we have 328 million people in this wonderful country, 7.5 billion worldwide. Everybody loves this population clock. I could do a webinar on it. It would be a short one though. But if you click on this little widget here, you can actually put this widget on your website. We have the code for it on here. But you can see the most populous states, the most populous countries. Very interesting. So this is the banner here that I was talking about, right up here. So browse by topic. There's income and poverty, right? So I'm not going to go into that right now, but I just wanted to show it to you. I'll just click on it to show you the landing page, so you can see basically what was on that slide here. I'm going to go back. Explore data. Right. One other thing I want to show you. See, here's the Census Academy. Right. I will show you this because we're going to be having a big launch on this. It's going to be the front thing with data tools and training. So this is where you're going to have access to our webinar. So here's the webinar we're all on now. You can go to upcoming webinars, and you can see all our upcoming webinars this month, next month, and in June. So I do have my ACS one here, part one. My colleagues are also doing some ACS ones as well. And this webinar is being recorded. So eventually, with time limitations, we have to make sure it's edited. And if there's any personal information or private information, we have to follow Title 13 and 26. And then if it's going to be posted as in a recorded webinar, if it meets all the standards to be posted. And you'll be able to see this webinar here recorded. So I'm going to go back to our homepage. I just wanted to show you that. Census Academy, I got there by going to Explore Data. So here, Quick Facts is right here, right? That's one way to get to the tool. We put that data tool here because it's one of our most popular data tools. If I go to Explore Data here, we have over a dozen data tools available, which you may find interesting. You can go to Data Tools and Apps here and have a whole list. You could access Quick Facts there too. But I'm going to go into Quick Facts here. I'm clicking on it on our homepage. So this is meant to get quick facts, right? It's not meant to customize tables or you want to see this and that. You want to cross-tab. It's not for that. It's to get. So we have a set data sets here that are available. You can't change them. But it gives you a nice overview of an area. So you have all the topics here. If I wanted to skip to it, like if I want to see education, right, we show you high school graduate rate and bachelor's degree rate for the area. Here's our income. The reason why I showed this, we have an income and poverty section. You can see the median household income and the per capita income in the past 12 months and persons in poverty. Okay. So another feature here that I'm going to show you on this Quick Facts tool that's only available for counties, cities, some towns that have to have a population of over 5,000, right? So we have all these different data tools. Some data tools you can get zip code data. Here you can't, right? Mostly counties, cities, and some towns. It does say here zip code, but that's to pinpoint the city that zip code's in. Right? It doesn't give you zip code level data. So let's put in here, yeah, you can use chat and give me some areas, and then I can show it. And you can certainly compare more than one area here. So if you use chat, give me the name of your city or county, or I could do statewide also. You can put that in chat now, and I can use it as an example. So I'm going to put in, let's put in Cumberland County. You can see all the Cumberland counties we have in Virginia. Right? So very easy. It populates right here. You can easily compare it to the United States. Right? I can put in, let's put in Clark County in Nevada. I'm just doing this at random. So here you can see, you can compare side by side. Someone asked, can we compare? Yeah, you can easily compare. So you can see the median household income of Clark County in Nevada is $54,882. And in Virginia, Cumberland County is $43,000. And you can see the poverty rate here as well. Now, if I didn't want the United States here, because I can easily X that out, and it's removed. Now, even though this is an income and poverty webinar, if you wanted to see all the topics here on these two areas, you get an idea of the population, right? So I'm comparing two way different sized counties. Clark County has over 2 million people. Cumberland County has 9,800 people. Right, you can see some race data here as well. I think maybe we have disability data on here, but it doesn't cross it with the income or poverty. Family and living arrangements, here's some economic, even tells you how many business establishments are in the county. So another feature here I want to show you is, if I'm going to jump down to income and poverty again, just going in the drop down, right, we have different sources of data. So if I want to see where this median household income data came from, I click on that eye there. It'll tell me that the source is from, again, the American Community Survey. And it'll give you more information. What do we consider income for households? This includes the income of the householder and all the individuals 15 years old and over in the household. So this gives you a lot of the data and information behind it, the metadata, source and accuracy, and margin of error. Right, all that technical stuff. If you love that, we have it. Another feature here with Quick Facts, we can go to a chart. So you can chart one area at a time. If you want to see all the selected locations, let me select another fact, because I had it on the population, which they didn't have. But if I wanted to see the poverty rate, it'll put it in a nice chart for you. Right? You could screen grab that, use it in your presentations, and just cite it's from the ACS American Community Survey. We can also map the information. So I'll go to the Clark County in Nevada. So this is nice. It gives you a map, and it gives you all the counties automatically for Nevada without you having to type each one. And you can just hover over the area. Again, this is the Clark County was 14% poverty rate. Again, this is 10.5%, 15.8%. It's a pretty nice feature here. If I wanted to get more information on Humboldt County, why does it have a 10.5%? I can click on it and add it to my table. Now I have 3. I have a new table there. So if I go back to the table, you'll be able to see the new area. You can see the new area there, Humboldt County. If I go back to the map, just to show you a couple of more features, if I click on any county and I go to places, it'll show me some of the places in Nevada also automatically. So you can look at, here's Johnson Lane. CDP stands for Census Designated Place. It usually matches the boundary that the state has for that place. So that's 4.7%. So we got some places there as well. Dashboard, also pretty neat, right? It gives you Humboldt County here on the left. It gives you the map here, all on one area. It automatically charts all the counties. So you can easily see, looks like Pershing County has the highest poverty rate at 18.2% just by looking at the bar. So that's it. You can also, with this data tool, you could actually download in a CSV file, comma separated value file. That goes into Excel. You could print it, email it. So that's it. That's quick facts, right? You can look at different areas and get a nice overview of it. So I'm going to go back to our home page so you can see where I started this. So the next data tool is SAPI, the Small Area Income and Poverty Estimate Program. So I'm going to go to it by going to the topic, Income and Poverty topic page here. And here it is right here, Small Area Income and Poverty Estimate. So again, this tells you more about this. If you want to know how we get this data, you can go to About This Program. It'll tell you where we get this information. Tells you what data that we provide. If you go to the methodology here, it'll give you different information about that. This program, it's a model-based program that uses data from the ACS. It also uses administrative data as well. There's guidance here for data. All our data tools have this. You can get guidance. When do you use it? The guidance for geography users. So we're going to go into the actual data tool now. So I'm going to click on Data Tools. And here's the data tool. We also, you can see we have one for SNAP. So here's the data tool that you should see on your screen now. So automatically, what you're looking at is the poverty, and these are all little counties. These are boundaries for the counties. I'll look at chat to see if I got any geographies. So what I'll do is, so let's see, we're looking for an area. You can click on this map also, right? You can drill down. So if we wanted to go to Tennessee, let's go to North Carolina here. All right, so here's Lawrence, that's Kentucky. So here's North Carolina, here's Raleigh. They're in Wake County. You can see the poverty rate there is 8.9%. Right? So what you can do here is I can look at all the counties in a particular state as well. So here's all the counties in the country by alphabetical order. So if you know the county name, you can start typing it here. So let's say we wanted to look at Wake County. Right, so it brings you to that. So that's the map view of it. Here's the table view of Wake County. It compares it to the state and to the United States, so North Carolina and the United States. Now, if you wanted to see all the counties in North Carolina, right? Or let's just select a few at random. I'm going to press OK. So you can see them all here on the chart. You can easily sort them. I'm going to remove the United States from total, so I'm just going to uncheck this. Very easy to use data tool. I don't want to see the U.S. total either. So all I see is these selected counties in North Carolina. Right? So I can easily sort these columns by clicking on the column header, and you can see Wake County has the lowest poverty rate at 8.9%. If I go to the Trends tab here, pretty neat, right? It line graphs all the counties for you, right? So you can see Wake County was always the lowest poverty rate. This is Buncombe County. Here on the left, right now we're looking at all ages poverty rate. If you wanted to see the median household income, you can switch to that. It'll automatically update the table for you, showing the median household income. So Wake County has the lowest poverty rate, also has the highest median household income at $77,641. A nice way to quickly navigate an area. So the smallest level you can go here is school district, and that's for ages 5 to 17 that are in families. So here it automatically plots all the school districts in North Carolina. So it's a way to easily go down if you don't want to futz around with the census tract or block groups. Right, school districts are pretty, small areas. You can see the population size of some of them here. It gives you the ratio. Now you can sort here. If I go to the map now, you'll have, again, now it's all school districts that are bordered here. So you can take, again, it's automatically, if you look at the legend here, I clicked on legend, you can see that the darker areas have the highest poverty rate. Here's one that's pretty high here, Johnson County School District in Tennessee. So, my purpose was to show you briefly how to use this data tool. Again, we have different data tools that have different limitations, as you can see. So the last data tool that I'm going to go over is American Fact Finder, right? So the way I'm going to go to that, I'm going to go to the data, tools and apps here. And here's American Fact Finder. Here's some of the other popular ones. Here's another way to get to quick facts, right? My tribal area, someone asked about the American Indian Alaska Native population. You might be able to get some income and poverty data for tribes right in here. If I don't have a chance to do an American Fact Finder, we have a data tool called My Tribal Area. So I'm going to go to American Fact Finder. So again, this is an advanced data tool. It's novice as well, but it could get it, advanced depending on the purpose you're using it for. Again, we have data in here that comes from ACS, the housing survey, a bunch of economic surveys, the economic census. So I'm going to show you two ways, right? You can use community facts, right? So I'm going to type in, let's type in Queens County in New York. Very easy to use community facts. If you have a particular area, you can get instant facts here. It gives you the most popular tables that we have in AFF, because again, we have tens of thousands. So this sort of gives you the most popular ones, so it's more for a beginner using community facts here. So you can instantly see the population in Queens is about 2.2 million. So here's on the left, you have all the different topics. So if I go to income, you can see some of the most popular income tables from the ACS. Right? So I'm going to click on one of them, and you're going to see the wonderful data that we have here, how we cross variables and things like that. So here's, we can do one on earnings in the past 12 months. So here's a table, right? It looks like there's a lot. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I know you can on your end. Let me just zoom in a little bit because the writing could be small. So this is earnings in the past 12 months, inflation-adjusted dollars. So what this tells you is here's Queens County, that's the geography. It tells you the population 16 and over with earnings is about 1.2 million, and it breaks it down by gender also. It tells you the earnings for full-time year-round workers with earnings by gender. Here's the median earnings, $45,812. And this gives you the mean, which is the average, 57,927. So this also gives you median earnings by educational attainment. So you can see if you have a bachelor's degree or higher, you're making more money at 51,958. So that's just one example how we can cross income data with educational attainment. We do that for disability also. We do that for, poverty, family status, household statistics. So I'm going to go back to community facts. So, we have a bunch. You can click on these tables. There's a lot of wonderful data in there. So that's using community facts, right? You can type in an area here, and you can get statistics for it. So if I type in a zip code, it'll even give me zip code data very easily. This is a zip code in Manhattan. I believe it has 127,000 people, and you can get statistics on a zip code level. So counties, cities, towns, and zip codes you can get from using this. This is just one geography at a time. The other way is the advanced search. I'm going to show this to you because I have a slide on it that shows you how to get to it. But here, just basic overview of this. What I recommend doing is you're going for a particular topic, like income and poverty. You go to the topic section here. You can see income and poverty is under people, right? So you can see we have a breakout for income and earnings, right? So this is how you filter the table, right? You're using this advanced search to filter the table. So you can see if I click on this here, we have 7,400 tables on income and earnings. You have poverty here as well. So if I wanted to see a poverty table, I'm going to click on poverty. You can see it goes into the basket. If I wanted to also get into the disability topic, right? So we do have, there's 250 tables that have something to do with poverty and disability, right? So this is, I'm doing like a real life example. So if I click on any of these tables now, I will get data, but only at the national level. I haven't set a geography. So if I wanted to set a geography, I can just type in something here. Now I could type in a county or a place. I like to go to the Geographies tab. Now again, this is just a brief overview on American Fact Finder. I encourage you to sign up for some of the American Fact Finder workshops that we have, and that would be on that Census Academy webpage. I'll share that with you again and show it to you. So you can type in the name of the geography here. You can type in an address to get, it'll tell you what census tract it's in, what county is in, and you can look. You could also select by map, right? So I'm going to use list here. So I mentioned census tract, so I'm going to do that as an example. It's a great way to divide up a county. So if I wanted to see we can go to New Jersey. I'm going to select a county. If I wanted to see all the census tracts in New Jersey, I can just select that. But I want to see all census tracts in the Middlesex County, right? You can see there's a bunch of census tracts in Middlesex County. Again, each one has an average of 4,000 people. So I'm going to click on all census tracts. I'm going to add that to my box. We're going to be wrapping up shortly. This will be the last demo on American Fact Finder. So here now we have 28 tables with this level of geography and with the topics that I want. So I'm just going to I'm just going to click on one of these here. This is a table C18130. I'm going to click on the table. Now this is an age by disability status by poverty status table. Okay, so you can see all the census tracts here in New Jersey. You could map it so that you can see where all the census tracts are. So this tells you those under 18 with a disability and income in the past if they're below poverty or above poverty level. Right, and it does it by different age groups. Now there's different tables that may have different age ranges. This is one of the, we call it one of the detailed tables. So just to show you, so in this is Census Tract 1, those 18 to 64 that have a disability, 271 of them are below poverty. Those that don't have a disability, only 127 of them are below poverty. So you can see that you have a good percentage of people here that have a disability, 271, and that's out of 627 people are below poverty. Here, 127 out of 4,278 are below poverty. So I'm going to stop sharing my web browser. So I'm back to the slide now. Everybody should be seeing the slide now. So we're gonna wrap it up soon. I'm gonna go through the next few slides. So here's quick facts. Here's the link to it if you want to go it directly. This is the small area income and poverty estimate tool that I went over. And here's the link for that one. And here's American Fact Finder. Right? This here you can see the income and earnings and poverty topics, how to drill down to that data. Now we have other data tools also. We have something called Data Ferret for the really super advanced users. That's where you can create custom tables. Geographies, has limitations there as well. We have the CPS. Again, CPS is one of the sources of income and poverty data on a national level mostly. We have a table creator for CPS where you can create tables using CPS data also again. But if you're interested in the county, you're not going to even look at CPS from that chart that we have. We also have a statistical abstract where you can get some historical information on income and poverty, and that's just an example of one of them. So we made it through our agenda. So I'm going to share contact information. I'm going to share the link to the evaluation that we're going to do. But here's some, if you tweet, right, you can hashtag ACS data. We have information on ACS right here. Here's their webpage if you, because that's where we get all the nice juicy income and poverty data with all those other variables like educational attainment, veteran status. You're going to get that from the ACS. Here's our phone number. Right, if you want to ask for a workshop also, you can use this phone number. I shared this email earlier in web chat. So here you have a copy of it as well. And we have a bunch of YouTube videos. We have Facebook handle, Instagram, and Pinterest also. Here's the Academy, Census.gov Academy. So if you're interested in those AFF webinars or the ACS webinars that I offer or my colleagues offer, you can go to census.gov/academy. Here's my contact information. Right, so if you want to request webinars basically anywhere, you can send me an email. I cover the area mostly of in the New York City metropolitan area, Long Island, Queens. So if you want, we also do in-person workshops and data presentations. So if I do an in-person, I would be just doing my local area webinars. Of course, we could do remotely from anywhere. And again, there's our email address and phone number to contact us. We also have, just briefly, we have a new tool, data.census.gov, that they're hoping to launch by summer's end. So you can check that out and provide feedback at feedback@census.gov, so you can help shape our future data tool, which will eventually may be a substitute for American Fact Finder. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to share this link in chat right now, so that if you can take a few moments, it won't take you more than 2 minutes. Right? I put the link on in chat. So if you can take 2 minutes, just complete the evaluation. And while you do that, I will prep the screen to share a PDF file of these slides. So I'll be quiet for a moment or two. Thank you. Okay, so thank you for taking your time to complete that. If you can't complete it now, if you can do it soon, that would be great. So I shared, you should be able to see a dialog on your device to download the PDF file. If you're successful in doing that, if you can just give me a quick check mark so I can get a quick tally on that. If you haven't received it, again, the slides and video will be posted up in the near future on census.gov/academy. So if you're able to successfully download it, just give me a green yes, check mark. Awesome, I got at least 10 check marks. So we had a good crew on today. We had a good participation. So again, I thank everyone's participation in this webinar. You know, I'm very happy that we have this interest in our data. Again, we have our contact information up on your screen. You can contact us with any questions, and we'll be happy to help you, and we'll be happy to do follow-up data workshops for your community organization or a group of people. We're here to do that. Again, thank you and enjoy.